Mangala Charana.
Yes, please. Om Aikyanatimirandrisa Jnananjana Salakaya Satsonmilitamena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamsam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parisana Saitam Krishna Saitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitam Sam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kansana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Pancha Kalpataru Vaisa Kripa Sindhuve Vasa Patitanam Pavanevu Vaisnavevu Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Pristaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Prasarine, Devi Sesa Sunyavadi, Pasattade Setarine, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yes, Matas.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. So yesterday we started studying the different causes, different kinds of theories, why things happen. And some Puranas say that time is responsible. Some say that this kind of the secret works. Some believe in the subconscious manipulation, etc., etc. Now, Krishna consciousness is the highest. And even if it's the superpowers, even if it's demigods, we are seeing here, even the demigods, I mean, we are seeing in the Bhagavatam, we are reading in the morning, independent Bhagavatam for the independently thoughtful. Even the demigods are all powerless in front of Hiranyakashipu. So what we can see is ultimate cause is Krishna, but his love gives us that free will. So Dhruva Maharaj is actually, I just want to clarify that in the original text of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj doesn't ask these questions. If you studied, it's more like it's like a possibility. Even if he asked, it doesn't mean he's not a pure devotee. But just for the fact's sake, Dhruva Maharaj doesn't ask these questions. Manu is answering all these things, but those questions are like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when he writes commentary for Gita and all, many times he says Arjuna's questions, he forms it just to clarify for us. It's not like actually spoken. So similarly here, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur style, the whole philosophy is divided in a format of conversation for our easy understanding, because it will remain in our head. Oh, this question, this answer. So it's not like it's not exactly in Bhagavatam. Dhruva doesn't exactly ask like this, like that. But at the same time, a very relevant questions Nehavati Gandharvika asked yesterday. How he is asking such basic questions? Well, that's the greatness of a devotee. Parikshit also asks very, very simple questions. So it's not a shame to ask questions. And it doesn't mean that pure devotee doesn't mean they're frozen and they're always like, everything is known in a very boring way. Pure devotee means they are progressing every day, they're growing every day. like that. So it's important points I wanted to bring up from yesterday's questions. Okay, let's continue reading. Who would like to start?
I can read it Madhavi. From yes, right? I have to
Yeah.
start from the beginning. Yes, I have heard such arguments, said Dhruva. Manu chuckled. These are all speculations. You cannot understand the absolute truth by guesswork or experimental knowledge. The fact is that nature, time, and the individual's proli- proli-
Proclivity.
proclivities all come from the Supreme Lord and depend on Him. Yet He is invisible and unfathomable. Manu looked around at the slain Yakshas lying on the battlefield. My dear son, these Yakshas are Kubera's descendants. Do not blame them for your brother's death, for the birth and death of every living being is ultimately caused by Vishnu. Yet he too is not to blame, for he acts without any material desire or attachment. He is not affected by the three modes of nature. Ruba closed his eyes. He needed to think. How does the Lord cause everything while not being responsible for anything? An example from his own life came to mind. As the king, he established both universities and prisons along with their entrance criteria. When one citizen goes to university and another to prison, it was in one sense due to the king, but he was not responsible for the citizen's choices. Another doubt entered his mind. As the king, he became angered at wrongdoers and pleased with good citizens. Was Vishnu not the same? He looked up at Manu and said, You say the Lord acts without attachment or desire. Does that mean he is neither pleased nor displeased by anyone's material acts? Manu said, Let me explain. There are two realities, the internal spiritual and the external material world. The Lord is always personally present in the spiritual world. In the material world, he is present as the super soul, a guna avatara who functions as part of the material creation. It is in this capacity that he controls, maintains, and annihilates everyone. He is dispassionate in his dealings in the material world, unlike those in the spiritual world. Dhruva praised his forehead. The supersoul may be dispassionate, but how can anyone expect that of him? He was Uttama's elder brother. He had to avenge him. The Yaksa race must be exterminated. Manu looked with compassion at the young king, who was still clearly conflicted. He said, My dear boy, just follow the Supreme Lord's directions with full faith. He arranges everything for our highest good. We are all under his control. Even Lord Brahma, exactly as a farmer controls his bull with a rope through its nose. Do you recall how, at the tender age of five, you completely trusted the Lord? Your stepmother insulted you, and immediately you went to the forest to engage in mystic meditation like the yogis. You wanted Vishnu's help. Just see the result of trusting him then. You have achieved the topmost position in all the three worlds. Yes, grandfather, this is true. Please tell me, what does the Lord want of me? Stop seeing the world from the bodily perspective. see from your original position as the Lord's eternal servant.
Right, we'll pause there.
I just have one question. Like, I'm a little bit surprised. I didn't clearly knew that Paramatma perspective is the material perspective. Like,
Which
I thought
perspective is material?
the Paramatma, right? It is not exactly material. It is Sri Guna Avatar, right? It comes
Oh,
because purpose, like Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and personal realization, all are transcendental, right? That's what
well,
my
yes, he is transcendental, but he comes because of his mercy. Even in the material world, he's present as a super soul in Gunavatar, but it doesn't mean the Gunavatar is material.
okay,
He is
okay.
he is not material. Super soul is not material. Paramatma is not material. It's transcendental, but he's present in this material world.
Okay, okay,
He is not material. It just he functions as if as in the material
oh,
creation.
okay. Oh,
Because when let me see what example they gave here. You know that example Prabhupada gives the two birds in the tree, right? One bird is watching, the other bird is eating. So Paramatma is that bird who's watching. It doesn't mean that it's not doesn't have spiritual powers. It's just that the other bird, the Jivatma, is eating the fruits. And the Paramatma is a witness. So witness is not like Krishna when he interferes in our life, even in the deity form, we pray, flowers fall, or we ask for something and then Krishna comes in our dream and answers, or all these kind of things. That's directly like he's acting from the Bhagwan. Paramatma is the inspiration. He's there, but he's not going to interfere in the free will of the human. Therefore, why? Because he's in this material world, in this material body, right? Actually, Paramatma is what makes our existence spiritual. Without Paramatma in our heart, we say we are spiritual beings having a material experience. We are not material beings having a spiritual experience. So Jivatma is intrinsically connected to Paramatma. So we are parts and parcels of Krishna. We are sparks of Krishna. So even we are spiritual. You understand? Even we are spiritual, but in this material world. Even we are non-material. What to speak of Paramatma? But because we are in this material world, we are, of course, much, much less capable than the Lord and the Paramatma in the heart. Okay, so Paramatma is not material.
okay. So we can see it as like Paramatma and the soul both are like they are sitting in the heart of a living entity's body, but the soul gets like affected, right? He gets attached to the body and start what is it called? Identify himself or herself with the body, but Paramatma still remembers the spiritual nature. Can you say like that? Even it is sitting in the heart of the living entity's body, it doesn't forget anything. Can you understand like
He's
that?
seated in everyone's heart, okay? And he's
Yes.
seated in everyone's heart.
Mm.
Sarvesha chaham hridi sannivishto mathas pratir jnanam apohanam cha. So as a Paramatma in the heart, he's giving us remembrance, he's giving us forgetfulness. Okay, he's in control of
Mm.
actually. But then there is the Jivatma. Of course, Jivatma as a soul, we are not really affected by the miseries of this world.
Mm.
What is suffering is not the soul exactly, it's the mind. you know but the soul is covered by false ego and all the other elements. So to answer your question shortly, um, yes, the conditionings are there, but the spirit soul is intrinsically spiritual. But the mundane modes are affecting our sense of thinking and direction and intelligence. And Paramatma in the heart is always giving us remembrance, forgetfulness, intelligence, knowledge. Paramatma is always providing that, because see, when Paramatma leaves the body, then we consider it dead. The jiva leaves, right? life air. When life air leaves, then, that's it. There's no, what's the point of the body? We just burn it. So the body is jada. Body is just matter. Everything is the soul, the Jivatma and the Paramatma. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Okay, okay. Somebody else likes to continue reading? Here. So we're continuing this discussion. Very, very important, basic philosophy. This as preachers, no, we need to know this nicely, clearly. Please continue.
Mataji, is this from as long as you think, right?
What do you mean from there?
Okay, sorry. What do you mean? As long as you think you are this body and see others in the same way, you will differentiate between people on a temporary and illusionary basis. You will think Uttama is your brother, and the Yakshas are your enemies. In truth, we are a spirit soul, Krishna's eternal servants. And as long as we are in this material world, we will constantly change bodies. Who knows? Maybe Uttama has been reborn as a Yaksha. Does that mean you will now hate him? Dhruva's mouth fell open. This was a powerful truth. How could he hate anyone because of their body? Stop seeing them from a material viewpoint. See things as they are. Everyone is a spirit soul, a part and parcel of Krishna and his eternal servants. You see like this, you will be.
Okay, let's pause. Currently in the world, all this crazy war is happening. Everything is based on the bodily identity, right? Who knows? As soon as people are dying, maybe they're born in the enemy camp. When we start thinking like that, when we start thinking on the soul level, we become very wise. We don't see anybody as an enemy. We don't see anybody as a friend. Because nobody is, without the Lord's mercy, even the greatest of friends cannot help us. Right? Mare Krishna Rakhi ke, Rakhi Krishna Mare ke. If Krishna wants to protect you, nobody can kill you. And if Krishna wants to kill you, nobody can protect you. And this identification of caste, India is very much full of that also. Racism, sexism, all these things are so superficial. We have to go beyond that if we want to understand Krishna, if you want to understand spiritual life. Spiritual basically means going beyond these identities. Very interesting, no? Like imagine we are thinking this person, I know a family like that, because I check, when I check charts and all, I find out very mystical things happening. Somebody hated the other family, the other whatever, the cousin, brother family, etc. And then that grandfather who cheated, etc., will be born in their family only. Clearly, you can see from the child's chart that this person was the brother of this person in the previous life, or this person was the father of this. Like one child I found, the child is very, very, very adamant, just doesn't listen to the authority of the father. And the kid is just 4 years old, very inimical to the father, very like a lot of hatred. And then I figured out that this child was the father of this Prabhu. And there is this karma to be resolved because the person didn't treat the father nicely. And did many things, many kind of bad things. And now the child is born as the son of this person, and even that person used to hate the father, and now is the son, and the son is giving such a hard time. Like this, I mean, I can count so many stories of people's chart reflecting that somebody who hated somebody's mother-in-law or guru or teacher. Like recently I saw chart of a child, not a child, a teenager, he was himself like a gurukul teacher, and he ran gurukul, and he had many kids under him in his previous life. And in this life, this kid had not good experience in the gurukul. Like he was complaining and everything, and I thought it'll be interesting. Very good kid. Then when I looked at the child, it was so clear that previous life they misused power. because this kid was very bossy, very overconfident, telling all the kids what they should do, what they should not do, putting everybody in their place and making everybody feel scared and terrorized and everything. And in this life, that power has been taken away. This kid doesn't have the strength anymore. And like this, I have seen, and the kid had to be powerless in a mismanaged Gurukul. The kid had to go through years of austerity. So like that, sometime we'll come back to the same. If we hate some family, some caste, some sex, I have seen, like, even many women I have seen, right, like even right now as I'm speaking, there are contemporary friends of mine who were present during the time of Srila Prabhupada. They were preachers, they were Sankirtan devotees, they were brahmacharis, sannyasis. They had so much power, spiritual power, Shakti. But somehow or another, very clearly in the chart, this life chart, I can see that their lessons were they disrespected women. They thought, wow, what is this women? They're just cows, they're just, women are just whatever. They didn't consider women to be whatever, valuable. And now, at least as I'm talking to you, I know 4 devotees, 4 women, Vaishnavis, powerful preachers, intelligent, everything. But they're women. And in their chart, it's clearly there that they were present during the time of Srila Prabhupada, and they were men. They did a lot of spiritual progress, but they hated women. Some couple of them hated women. They just could not see themselves as a woman. Forget about seeing themselves as a woman. They didn't respect women. And then they have come now in this life as a woman. They're still fighting, they're always feeling, the women should be there. And then I'm like smiling because I thought, previous life, you set this for our movement. You made people think women are not so valuable. Now you're fighting against the same thing you established. And then 2 others they didn't hate women. 2 of them have a story that one person took sannyas, but they got attached to a woman. And you won't believe it. The woman that this person got attached to, and then of course died and all that, this Vaishnavi looks like that woman that Maharaj was attached to. Looks, the face is like that exactly. And so 2 stories are because they hated, like here it's coming. What if Uttama is born as Yaksha? You're going to hate all the Yakshas. So like to ask these people, hey, you hated women, you mistreated women. Now here you go. You are a woman now. What are you going to do? You're going to fight. You're going to undo what you did in the movement. If you made women look down, you look down upon women, you mistreated women. Now is your chance to undo it and show that women can be intelligent and reliable and valuable, like that. So both attachment and hatred causes us bondage. If we become too attached to a particular family or something, we will have to undo that. And if we become hateful towards a particular sex or a particular gender or a particular orientation of sexuality or whatever it is that we hate intensely, either our own children may be going through that or we will go through that in the next life. So Dhruva Maharaj is given that huge truth. What? Spirit soul it's very malleable. Krishna can shape shift, right? Krishna can become Mohini Murti, can become Nasimha, Vamana, everything, Rama. Like that, even devotees will shape shift without consciousness in our case. So we shouldn't hate or love anybody or anything too much. Should be what Bhagavatam says, should be neutral. Okay, continue. Prema Pallavi Mataji, please continue. You want to maybe read the sentence? If you see like this, you will be equal toward everyone.
Dhruva sighed. He had not exactly displayed equanimity toward the Yakshas. He said, "What you say sounds simple enough, but it's hard to practice." Manu put his arm on Dhruva's shoulder. "I know, my boy. Keep serving Krishna, who resides in everyone's heart, as super soul. By such service, you attained your goals even as a child. Continue to serve him, and by his grace, you will soon be free of this illusionary conception of life and become fixed in your natural identity as spirit soul. My dear king, continuously hear the truths about Krishna as you are now hearing them from me. This acts like medicine that cures a spiritual disease known as the bodily conception.
This disease is known as Bhavaroga. Bhavaroga means material disease. So it's like an addiction. We get addicted to thinking in a certain way. And Dhruva Maharaj here is very humble. Because he's a pure devotee. He's not attached to the false ego, or this is the way I think is the best. I am the best. Everybody else is nonsense. He's not thinking like that. Therefore, it's sorted. But we know in Mahabharata, there was Amba character famous, right? She couldn't marry Shalva king, and then she became angry with Bhishma, and then she was so revengeful. She did so much austerities and tapasya because she wanted to take revenge from Bhishma. She wanted. Then she came to Bhishma and said, "You should marry me," so she could break his vow of brahmacharya. Then Bhishma said, "I'm sorry, I can't do that." Then she took another vow that I will come back in the next life and kill you. Then she got benediction from Lord Shiva. Shiva told her, "Hey, this kind of revengeful mentality I don't like," because Mahadev is a pure devotee, right? He doesn't like that. And he's like, "I don't like this revengeful mentality, but because you've done so much austerity, you will have to still struggle and wait for the right moment when Krishna will decide, and when it's the right time, then you will be used your sankalpa, your determination shall come to use. Krishna will use your determination to establish dharma at some point." Then she had to come back next life, Shikandi, and then as Shikandi, she went through so much ordeal. The father itself, she went through so much insults. She had to wait so much, struggle so much. Then even it was not so easy that she just killed Bhishma. She had to go and exchange her sex with Yaksha. No, so everything was very difficult. So the path of revenge, the path of this kind of thing, enemy, friend, we can waste lifetimes in it without growing. We may waste so much time. So this illusory conception, right? And I have seen in my professional life again and again and again, people who hate something. Like, I know one of my family members, in the previous life, this person hated like gentle, weak people, or they hated feminine energy, like very, very hateful towards certain things. They were very scholarly, very intellectual, highly developed intellect in previous life. But in this life, because they use that intellect to put people down, this individual is born with very less opportunities, very kind of loser life, okay? Not kind of, very much loser. This person is a loser in life, but the soul kind of has the remembrance and the capacity to remember that they know they were scholarly, they were such Sanskrit scholars and everything, but their tongue doesn't turn like it used to turn in previous life. And the brain, it's like karna, the curse of karna. It's not that he didn't know, it's not that he was not capable, but because he lied to the guru, he got cursed by Parashuram. And in the end, he will forget when the time will come, he will forget the mantras. He couldn't invoke the mantras. So similarly, I have this particular family member of mine, just like that. They were very prideful in previous life. Very, very prideful. That illusory concept, right? I am very smart. I'm knowledgeable. Everybody else is nonsense. Like this. And they hated to be a loser. And in this lifetime, Krishna, this person is a devotee. And this person is now given a chance to rectify, undo their mistakes. So externally, those may not know astrology, those may not know their life. They look at this person and just think, useless life, this person is not achieving anything. But I had to console the parents and the people in my family, telling them that this is a good life for this person, because they are undoing the prideful, arrogant lifetime. They're undoing those attitudes because it's necessary to progress. So sometimes we may suffer from bad relation, bad economy, whatever the struggles, but this lifetime, I know another friend, she's not beautiful looking, but in previous life, this person used their beauty wrongly. And in this life, they don't have beautiful features. So this is good for this person, because they're humble. They're not going to think anymore, I can do anything with my beauty. I can attract any man. I can say anything I want, get away with it. They can't do that in this life. So that's humbling them. So this Krishna's mercy is so powerful that he knows what we need. So that's what Dhruva is doing here, to have that faith. It came here, right? It, like it said here, to have faith in the Lord and to not take karma in our own hands, to not try to fix. Maybe with our children, maybe maybe one of our kids are very smart and they bring pride. Another kid may not be, but to have faith in the Lord that this kid's life is meant for progress. Even it looks like Jadabharata's life, no? Jadabharata was pretending to be dull-minded, but he was going through that particular life because it was necessary to become serious, to become focused. So similarly, we need to have faith in our life. And I'm going to stop the live and share something very personal on this regard. So for those of you watching,